Welcome to the On the Slab Horror Show, the show that we definitely do bring you each and every single week. Today, I've decided to be your host. I am coming to you directly from the depths of Dracula's lair. Joining me today, as always, Greg Flanagan, Mr. Captain. That's right, he is the captain, and he is also coming to you live from the torture chamber. Then we've got my right hand man coming from Nosferatu's lair himself, the king, Mr. Carl King. Whoa, Carl.
Are we all doing, lads?
We are great. And then last but not least, a familiar face of this wonderful Dynamo Podcast Network, but also on the slab, making his second appearance, I believe. Is it or third? Second, yeah. Ted is a little bit probably less safe than all of us, even though I'm in the depths of Dracula's dungeon. Carl's in Nosferatu's lair. Greg is in the torture chamber. But Ted is in real trouble because if you look directly behind him, that will give away what today's show is about. It's all about Halloween Kills, and Michael Myers is right behind you, Ted. He looks to be frozen.
Get out, Ted.
My old mate. Michael, he's just there, you know. Don't bother to him.
It's grand. He's not a firefighter here, lads.
Nah, but he messed lad.
Was anybody disappointed when fucking Austin Powers didn't turn out in Halloween?
How could the same person be linked to two? Like it's just what an actor.
He's brilliant.
True life story of Mike Myers, you know.
This is how he got his libido.
Yeah, went on to become an actor and everything. An inspiration.
What we did forget to say tonight was it's Friday night, and what do we do on Friday nights?
It's horror night, boys.
It's horror night, exactly. So let's get on with it.
Before we do any of that, let's get some bills paid and get some groundwork out of the way. This is brought to you, as always, by the Dynamo Podcast Network. Please go and check it out. It is literally better than Netflix at this stage and probably has more content on it now. We're nearly 600 videos up. Yeah. The subs keep going up. The views keep going up. The support keeps going up. So for that, we thank you all. A lot of the shows have audio versions as well, anywhere you listen to your favorite podcasts. This is solely a visual show, so you will not find us on audio. Not yet or anytime soon, depending.
Too good looking.
Yeah, too good looking. That's exactly it. But that's it. Go check out the Dynamo Podcast Network. Subscribe, like, hit the bell notification. Follow your favorite shows. Please do leave comments on anything you agree or disagree with and all that good stuff. No publicity is bad publicity. So on with the show. Today, Carl, we are talking about something that we've waited for quite a long time, to be fair.
3 years.
Halloween Kills, baby.
Yeah.
Just before we start, might say there is probably going to be spoilers in this along the way.
Yeah, so if you haven't seen it,
it's your own fault.
Yeah, what's wrong with you?
Yeah, if you haven't seen it, wait and either go and see it or just wait until you've seen it and then come back and watch it because we're going to give you a great review of it.
Yeah, don't be hanging around. We still want your views, but we don't want to spoil it on you either. So you've been forewarned. Don't come in here.
I thought we were going to be waiting ages for you, Ted, to get to watch it.
Nah,
he tried his hardest, didn't he?
Yeah.
No, I fucking the gods are out for me. Didn't want me to see this film, but I got there in the end, boys. Don't worry.
Yeah.
It was a it was a hell of a show, so to speak, and it was
well worth the wait.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Getting the cancel culture has tried to get their claws in.
On 2 occasions in this movie.
Twice.
2 occasions.
Didn't happen. It
ain't happening. Big John C is not all about that noise. And
I think if they cancelled from what they wanted to cancel for, the film world is dead.
Yeah.
Greg, that's a good point. Why don't you lead us into that then? Explain to people what they wanted to cancel.
So I sent you the link when I read it there about a week before it came out.
Yeah.
That a firefighter or a firefighter in training got really offended by the opening scene where he kills all the firefighters. They saved his life, so he should thank them by not killing them. Hold on, pal. He's a fucking
Shape.
he's a psycho killer. Okay, yeah, he's
Evil
gonna just let the
man.
lads go. Like,
He gives
and,
a different breed technique for thank you.
yeah.
Imagine they were like back in the day. Like, listen, Dracula, he's the most evil man on the planet, literally draining blood from people, turning them into vampires when he wants to. But you know what? Be nice to that guy because he's a good public servant.
Yeah, he works
Yeah.
in the blood bank. Leave him alone.
Leave him
But to be
alone.
fair, like, all right, he kills the 2 firefighters in the house, right? Grand. When he comes out, those lads go straight for him.
I think he gave them a chance. You know, he was like, these nice men have saved my life. I
Sure.
give them all a chance. Listen, I'm standing here in the doorway, fire at me back, with a big bloody axe in me hand. Piss off, lads. You know who I am.
approaches that guy anyway? Like,
You all know who I
nobody
am.
ever-
I'm Mike Myers. You all know who I am, right?
Yeah, baby.
Piss
It's just-
off. You all know. Piss off. Don't come near me. And what do they do? Let's go one by one at him. Like, what? He's just going to let you run at him with your chainsaws? No. Nah. Good luck to that, lads.
The first guy had an axe. The second guy had a pickaxe. One guy had a con saw or whatever.
Yeah.
And they all went at
He
him.
got a rough one, didn't he?
Oh,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? They went at him. He gave them a chance to leave. They didn't take it. You know, that's their
I
problem.
mean, they were definitely in the wrong.
Yeah.
They were 100%
But like
in the wrong.
that cancel culture is getting beyond the joke now.
It's ridiculous, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
at one stage, like was he not? So apparently, then he becomes a racist in this movie. He's homophobic in this
Yeah,
movie.
he killed the gay guy. It was like, no. See,
I think the gay guys in his house, wasn't he? Yeah.
see, it's
Where
like
should he be in his house?
Finn Balor is for everyone. Or Balor Club is for everyone. Michael Myers isn't. He hates everyone equally.
Yeah, well, I
No,
mean,
that's
you know, there's no
fucking
discrimination. There's no
No.
race, religion, or creed, you know?
There-
You're in his
there's-
way, you're going down.
Like there's
He's like
the
a little
thing there, right?
chihuahua.
If he didn't kill, say, the gay couple in this, or he didn't kill the black couple, right? Is he then racist because he didn't do them in, or
Yeah,
is
exactly.
he anti-homophobic because he didn't do them in? Like,
Yeah, exactly. You know,
Yeah, it's people
And to be-
clutching at straws at this.
to be
stage.
fair to him,
Would they
when
have
he killed
preferred us to watch? Would they have preferred us to watch Karen?
Barney,
Karen, we all know about that one.
An ultimate remake of Carrie. Huh?
Lord.
to be fair to him though, when he does kill the gay couple, like he leaves them in a way that they're in the picture in the room. Like,
yeah.
he gives them
Like-
more dignity than anybody else.
I think the
Yeah.
thing with the firefighters is, though, like, and this is one bit, like, that I didn't particularly like about the film, and it's an old horror trope. Why are they, like, why are you going at them one by one, lads? You know? Rush the man, you know?
Why
This
not
is-
just use them high-powered hoses you have?
Either run away or just all of you rush at him. Do you not be? Oh, I go up to him. Oh, he's just killed me, mate. I go up on my own. Use hang back. Oh, he's killed
Hang
me.
it.
I go back up now to him. Hang on, lads. Just either get out of him or get away. Like,
Oh, might I add, what a belter of a theme tune as well by the mighty Ghost.
yeah,
Good
Oh yeah.
Lord, that
Yeah.
you know when that actually came on at the end, because I was getting pretty tired. I was watching, you know, it was one of those, you know, that you stay up real late like on a Friday
Yeah.
night, and I was like, oh, it's getting sleepy. And I had to go back and watch the ending again just to really familiarize
Yeah.
myself with it. But then as soon as I heard that boom, that music at the end, I was like, oh, that reminded me of when I went to the cinema years ago when I was a kid and I went to see Resident Evil. And then at the end, the Slipknot song comes
what
on
a film.
in the cinema. I was like, I'm staying for this whole song, motherfuckers. You all leave.
Ironically, Resident Evil was one of those movies that was a good movie, but it wasn't Resident Evil.
No.
Yeah, it was a
no.
different
Yeah.
kind of take altogether, wasn't it?
But
Yeah.
isn't it amazing when you get like a good theme tune from a good band like that clicks at the end and it brings back so much memories to us, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or even just the theme tune in general. It doesn't have to be from a band.
well, the
Right.
score always matters. The musical score always matters to a film.
Absolutely.
We've said it many a time with
And
John
John
His scores are
Carpenter,
always
lads.
right.
And we're talking about John Carpenter. He's Mr. Score.
Yeah.
Like, you need a fix, JC.
Yeah. I do think though, Ted, I don't know if you've seen Ravenous. Have you seen Ravenous?
Not in a long time now.
Right. So Ian, you only recently saw it there, and
Savage, isn't it?
Shite.
yeah,
No, I'm not even.
yeah.
It was fantastic.
The soundtrack is, like you say, it's just as important in that.
Yes.
And that's
Yeah.
Damon Albarn from Blur and Michael Neumann. Like, where would you ever think of those two pairing together for a
He's
movie
a
soundtrack?
genius, though, Damon
Ah.
Albarn.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
There's another one of the movies though that goes back to the last episode we had of locations.
Yeah.
That was perfectly placed. Same as this, in a small town, probably in the back arse of
Middle of
nowhere in
nowhere,
America.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did like, where they're at the bar in this though, like the couple are at the bar, they're dressed up as a doctor and a nurse,
Yeah.
and they're kind of like, oh, these lads behind us, shut up, and then the barman's like, listen, they're the survivors of the original, we
I
kind
did
of just
like that.
we kind of
That's
just
cool.
leave on this day specifically, we kind of just don't say anything to them, and I like that they then turned around and they go, oh, shit, we didn't know, and they go
Yeah.
over and they apologize and they're like, we're really sorry, we didn't realize who you were, like we've heard the
It was
stories.
nice. It was nice.
Like it's a
enough.
nice little touch, that people are like, it's a continuation from
Yeah.
the very original, where it's like,
The throwbacks were so good.
people
weren't
don't
they? Like, they were
forget.
so well placed.
yeah, people
so
people might
good.
not know who you are, but they don't know you to see, but they know your history and they respect that. I
Yeah.
thought that was a really nice little touch.
The
What-
even the little glimpses when it shot back at the start to obviously Will Patton's character
Yeah.
being a young cop.
The flashbacks were great, weren't they?
Tommy,
Yeah, very well done.
yeah, like the throwbacks that they put into this were just phenomenal.
And then the guy they got to do Loomis was
It was just him. I'm sure it was him.
Yeah.
It was actually fantastic. It was, yeah.
like already. I don't know.
And Loomis. No, sorry, I didn't mean to cut across.
Grand,
I was going to say Loomis for me is kind of always been like on par in terms of it making you feel comfortable the way
Yeah.
Quint was in Jaws. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly,
He's that kind of just really kind of charismatic guy without trying to be. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Just being
Donald
natural.
Pleasance is brilliant though
Ah,
in everything.
one of the goats.
He
man.
is.
One of the
He
goats.
is.
Like
You know-
even
Mr.
in
Horror.
Escape from New York and whatnot.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like he teamed up with John
Fantastic.
Carpenter a good few times.
And wasn't he in James Bond as well as what's that man? I expect you to die.
I don't know.
Yeah, he was at Blofeld or something like that.
I don't know. I'm not a big
Yeah.
Bond guy myself,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
He was the
I'm a
character
big
that
Bond guy myself.
he was the
but-
character that Michael Myers based Dr. Evil on.
Oh, right, is it? Okay.
Yeah, he's got a big scar going down his eye, and
That's true. That's
Yeah.
100% true,
See,
yeah.
everything links in now, lads. It's
Yeah.
all coming
It's
full
all
All links
circle.
back.
it's
Carol's
the Michael Myers
giving- Carol's-
universe.
Carol is bringing in knowledge nuggets here for you.
Yeah.
Wait till you get to a pub quiz and it's like, how does Halloween and Austin Powers link apart from the name?
Well, hang on a second.
We had this on the
is
slab.
one. There is one.
I love you know what I love about this, lads? I love the fact that so many people, well, not so many people, but like what do they want from this? Like it's like Ian, when we're talking about bands like say Slayer or Metallica making like people want the classic album over and over and over and over again.
No.
A movie's not like that. This, for me anyway, I don't know how you felt about this, and like we have spoke about this all on our chat group,
Yeah.
but it really like as good as it is, and I love it. As I said, I love the film. It really does feel like a placeholder for Halloween Ends.
Yeah.
Like with Laurie Strode out out of action for most of the film essentially.
Yeah.
But it's
But
normally
it's a transitional piece, isn't
yeah,
it? You know what
yeah.
I mean?
Normally, I wouldn't be a huge fan of those type of films, knowing that it's going in for another film. But this had everything in it.
Well, this is what I said to you. The first thing I said to you was this is everything Michael Myers should have been
Exactly.
for a long time.
Yeah.
Like for me, this was the weakest of the big five for me as a franchise because it's
Yeah.
so slow, methodical going. But now it's all different. Like
I think
this has changed my opinion now. This would be right
know,
up there
I
behind
was-
Nightmare.
I was dying to kind of get your opinion on that, Greg, because I know the way you think on that, and like you are similar to me. It's and we all have our favorites, you know what I mean? That
Oh,
we're
yeah.
gonna unconditionally love more so than one. But I could kind of see the wheels turning without even speaking to you, just through text.
Yeah.
That he's gone like far in with this one.
Like
you know what I mean?
this one is gone. It's probably now my second favorite. Like whatever about the other bits of the franchise, like this timeline for me is just
this is the only one, isn't it?
this
Yeah.
is quality. Yeah,
like the way I'm viewing this is
Nightmare
that-
is up there as well. I'd agree with him on that one. Like,
Night-
because I mean,
Nightmare's
no,
my favorite now. But
yeah, no, that's fair. Now it wouldn't be like I'd be a Friday the 13th guy now myself as well. You know what I mean? And I don't know. I mean, I could probably flip a coin with that and Elm Street, to be fair. Do you know what I mean? And I actually plan. This is one of my plans now over the next week anyway, to go back on Elm Street and just go start to finish again anyway.
skip,
because I'd like
skip
to do
two.
that. I'll do it
even though
because
I
I
have
have
a
to.
T-shirt on.
I'm going to endure it. I just have to. It's just something you have to do. Unfortunately, if you're,
It's a bit
you're
of
like
crack.
us,
That's all it is.
it is a bit.
I
of crack.
say that, but look, there's a Grady on top there.
I couldn't find any horror T-shirts tonight that were clean, so I had to go with like my best demon impression.
Yeah, that's a horror. That's a horror for some people as well. You know?
Raise on.
Advertising my own band, so you know.
Here, listen, there's nothing wrong with that. The mighty woe.
Yeah. No, in terms of this film, I think there's the original, and I know there's all the other films that came out, but for me, this timeline is original, 2018, this one, and then Halloween ends. Like,
yes,
that's what this is. All the rest of them are kind of side projects as far as
the
I'm
others.
concerned.
The others are fun. They're fun.
They're fine, but
they're
not part of this story. They're a side project.
Yeah.
They're over there.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, they're
good.
nothing to do with this timeline. Nothing to do with any of that. And I like.
You know what? I'll give you a good example. They're basically, when you've got. I'll give you actually a perfect example. When we're talking about music, and Ted, you'll like this one. It's like you've got Iron Maiden, right? You've got the Diano start, then you've got Dickinson, and that's when the band begins. And then there's a break in between, and you get Blaze Bayley in with 2 albums. But then Dickinson comes back, and it's like you separate
about those 2 albums.
You separate the other 2 pieces, and it's like, no, this is the Maiden. Do you know what I mean? The others were almost like a side project, even though I love it. But it's similar with this movie in terms of timeline. Do you know what I mean?
I like how he's gone back. Like, he knows that they got it wrong. Well, not even that they got it wrong, but he knows that they became obscure and irrelevant, really.
Well, especially when Rob Zombie got his claws in it, he was fucking calling Rob Zombie out like a motherfucker, wasn't he?
He was right to. He was right to.
They were fucking desperate, but like John Carpenter realized that the franchise is going down a bad road, and decided, right, let's get back in now and fix it.
Save us.
I'll put this back where it needs to be. And
like Jericho when he came back, save us.
Yeah, that's what he did though. Like, he puts it back on track, and then the first film, like, from 2018, Greg hadn't seen that for so long, and he was kind of like,
I only watched it there in June.
Yeah,
maybe?
and that's after I was hyping it up to Greg for ages. I was like, no, like, this is seriously a good film. Like, all those other Halloweens can go away. Like, this is seriously good. The original, and then that's it.
That shows how much the franchise really didn't mean anything to me. I was just
exactly, yeah. And I had to hype you up to it, and then you went and seen it, and you were like, yeah, I'm buzzing for this one. And I do agree, Carl. This film feels very placeholdery. Like, we had the first one. This is kind of just like, let's get from point A where the house was on fire to point B, and they used her very minimally. But I think that worked very well because it allowed us to interact with these other characters a little bit more and build. Because while she's there, you've got that connection to her, and you're not really connecting to the other characters the way that you need to for the film to progress. But to put her in the hospital, keep her out of the way, you never forget her.
And it makes sense.
We keep panning back to her, like, oh yeah, we'll come back to her. She's talking to Will Patton's character. Yeah, she's talking about her past. So you never forget about her, but you're at least building up a repertoire with the daughter and the granddaughter and the other side characters and things, and it gets you to where you need to be. And then now we're like, I'm buzzing for this, the ending of this.
Just a little side note as well, Ted. Isn't it great to see someone in Hollywood like Jamie Lee Curtis grow old gracefully?
Oh,
you know what I mean? You know, it's usually they're done up to the nines, but like
Plastic.
you know what I mean? She's just a proper, like, I saw her dressing up and all, at the premiere, and like
dressed up as her ma, didn't she?
That was very good.
Just great crack, you know what I mean? I love seeing just real people and actually just, loving their craft, and so Jamie Lee Curtis, I mean, she is the original cream, the best from me anyway.
Well, her ma is probably the original one, isn't she?
Yeah.
No, yeah, but I mean, she's the best. Yeah, no,
she's your favorite.
Yeah.
Yes.
She's the one you remember. Do you know when somebody asks you who's the
Neve Campbell? They always try and compare the two, don't they? Neve Campbell.
I don't.
It's not even that, but like when you talk about who's the survival, the end girl. The way like all these kind of films have their end girl or their end boy, and you're talking who is it? Jamie Lee Curtis is one that's right at the top. Yeah, Ripley is another one, but like Jamie Lee Curtis is like one of those top.
Oh yeah,
top
Neve Campbell is phenomenal in Scream. Like, in fairness, she's awesome. Do you know what I mean?
But she's better. She gets better from 2, 3, and 4. 1, she's not great.
Yeah. She owned the role later on, but no,
Yeah.
I think what you said is 100% true, Ted. I liked the way you didn't need Jamie to be the center character in this. Do you
And
know what I mean?
it proved it. It actually proved it because
Yeah.
more people now I think more people are saying it's actually not a bad film. You know.
Yeah.
This
100%.
you can tell this is going to be the worst of the three of them, though.
Yes.
Yeah, well, it's a place.
And-
Like
yeah.
sometimes you just need to get from point A to point B, and this gets you from point A.
And this was a big
Transitional,
one
yeah,
too.
that's exactly what it is. Yeah, 100%.
But like, within saying this is going to be the worst of the three, doesn't mean it's a bad movie.
No, it's still awesome. It just shows you how good
Yeah.
the project has been.
David Gordon Green has done a hell of a job with these.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like how he even convinced John Carpenter to let him do it would be one thing. Like he'd have had to go on and pitch the idea of this is how I want to take this and wipe out the rest of those movies. Like
Yeah, and I'm
But
sure
these-
Carpenter was delighted with that.
I'd say that was music
Yeah.
to his ears. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But also, isn't it great to see a younger? Well, I mean, I don't know how young he is, but he's a younger director than Carpenter.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
that wouldn't
And
be
it's-
hard at this stage.
yeah.
yeah.
Sorry,
John's getting up in the years
But,
now. All right.
but the thing about it is, though, isn't it great when you get someone like that gets the rub off someone like Carpenter and gets that experience?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And has
It
the
gives you a
understanding.
lot of-
They
Yeah,
understand
that
what
has
they're meant to be
understanding.
doing.
Yeah.
Exactly, and like going forward, if he creates his own kind of thing, that's all. That experience is just so invaluable.
Have you noticed now though, a lot of horror films are made by directors that are making all sorts of movies. There's not many horror movies that are made by
Yeah.
horror directors anymore.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they all branch
Point.
out now, which is
No, you have to do it, but like if you're
Yeah.
a general horror director, you should know how to do it properly.
yeah. There's certain things that you need to know, like,
Yeah.
and I like it's always used like the atmosphere. I thought the atmosphere in this was brilliant.
Yeah.
Even
it's
though they don't
real
show-
dark
they
and
don't-
close,
they-
isn't it?
They don't show
Thematic.
you.
It's got to be thematic. Yeah. 100%,
They don't show you
yeah.
a whole lot of him getting from the hospital or getting from the house even back into town. Like they
No.
don't show any of that. It's just, oh, he's
He's
back
there.
in the town. You just know he is. But you hear then on the telly, oh, there's been killings at this house and this house and this house, and you're like, so he didn't just come back. He went along and he killed people on his way just because they were in his way.
How
They didn't need to show you that, They could just tell you that he's done it, and that builds it because you're like, right, haven't seen him kill anyone yet. And like you only see him kill that like obviously all the firemen and stuff when he's first leaving. Then that
the
couple,
care and the her thing.
yeah, and
I
then
was so happy to see that little fucking loudmouth kid in the last one get done in the cemetery. I was just like, your head annoys me. I can't wait till Michael gets his hands on you.
But again, you
Not only
don't-
did a real actor, he's probably a nice guy.
but
But
you,
I'm
you,
just
don't, you
like,
don't even see Michael get his hands on him in the end. He's just
No.
spiked.
it's just
Well,
spite.
you
and it was beautiful.
see him holding the head as well, like the annoying kids in this,
Yeah, the mask.
Yeah,
But,
he's
like,
just holding
how-
the mask.
That was so
fucking-
good.
How
So
fucking
good,
vicious was it when he goes into the outlads home, pulls him
Oh.
through the door, and
Yeah.
he just gets the fluorescent light and sticks it into one's neck.
Oh, that was
That was
impressive.
so sad, man.
And
I
then
was
about
like,
nine-
Michael, you son of a bitch.
and then
Like,
every
when you see
every
it go into
kitchen
her
knife
neck,
as well,
Yeah.
like every
go into her
kitchen knife
neck,
into
it
his body.
shoots up.
Yeah, and
It
the way
was
he
fucking
puts the
aggro.
knives into that body is very, very.
Yeah.
It's
Every
got
single
It's
one of them as well.
It's the original, he might be older. It's the OG Michael Myers. He might be older, but God
I was
damn.
just gonna say, and don't forget, he's in the film. He's in his 60s or so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's
And
still
in
killing
real
like a
life, he's
motherfucker.
probably what? Fucking older.
200.
But yeah,
Um,
so what I have to say, what really I got out of this film for me was, as you all know, I love the characters of the the Leatherfaces, the Freddys, the Jasons, the Michael Myers, and like that, I liked Michael Myers, but not as much as a Leatherface, as I said to you, and I think I even said it to you.
Yeah.
He now is after this one film. He's on a par now with me for Leatherface,
Wow, that's
Well,
big.
if you think about it though, right? You look at Leatherface. There hasn't been many good sequels to it.
No.
no,
Like there's the original, which I love up until a certain point, and I've made that perfectly clear.
Stop.
I love the 2003 remake, but like the rest of them are all.
Oh, they're muck.
Well, they're not. Some of them are okay
No.
to watch, but you'll never watch them again. Like
They're muck.
to be honest with you, you'll never get it. Like, I'll be honest with you, that scene as a kid when I
The
saw
hammer.
that fucking side door open
Mm.
and he pulls them in. Like, you won't find a more aggressive fucking just pulling them in, putting them on the hook. I was like, that takes the cake for old movies with that pure aggression. You know what I mean? Big boy coming in, just literally, because you were like, what's happening here? And you don't even notice the silver door until you just see it slide open, and you're like, holy shit.
And it has the big skull on the wall. The red wall.
Yeah, I think what's moved like this character up for all of you, and I'd say it's the same for you as it is for me, is that they've.
Well, I was always number one, Michael. So for me, I'm okay.
there was always the thing of, you know, he just walked people down, and you were kind of like why can't they just get away from him? And I liked in this that they gave him a bit of intelligence in the sense that, you know, he knocked on the front door of the gay couple's house, then he went around to the back door, then he went back to the front door, then they left the back door open, so he snuck in, and they were like, oh, somebody's in the house, but he wasn't anywhere they expected. He was upstairs, but he wasn't in the room that they expected him to be in, and then they get killed.
How fucking good were those gay couple?
I was literally, John. Greg, I was just about to say, how cool was that gay, the main gay fella? What was his name?
Big John and Little John.
Big John and Little John.
Dude, he was a fucking killer himself.
He goes out and he comes back in. He's like, Little John, there's someone in the house. I'm not having that. He takes his rings and all off.
I was like, go on, son.
For it.
Did you
if that had been a normal man, that would have been beaten down by Big John.
Did you notice the joke in the Big John and Little John?
No.
So they turn around and there's Big John and there's Little John, and then they go to get their weapons because somebody's in the house, and Big John picks up a little knife and Little John picks up the big knife. A very
that was it. Do you know what that reminded me of?
Joke, like.
It reminded me of, and don't forget, John Carpenter has his hands on this. It reminded me of Big Trouble in Little China when Kurt Russell takes out the little knife when he's sitting in the truck.
Yeah.
It's like the lads are just fighting with swords and sabers and all this shit.
And he's like, and then thing. And you've got the henchman with the butcher knife.
Yeah. But you get to see an intelligence sort of from Myers in this one, you know, where he's thinking about, it's not just, I'll just walk in, smash through the front door and just keep going. He's thinking about, okay, this is how I'll get this one, and that invokes the fear, because now you're not just like, oh, he just walked me down. You're like, hang on, now he's got an intelligence to him. There's not just I'll just run away from him, because he's going to be thinking. And I don't know if it's meant to be his idea, but the other guy that escapes from the insane asylum with him, he makes sure that he makes sure a second guy escapes, so everyone thinks that's him, because they don't know what he actually looks like.
Yeah,
and then when they
he's
find
drawn him with him,
then when they find him, they think, oh, we've got him, but they don't have him. And it's all because this Michael has thought far enough ahead. If I'm the only one to escape, then they'll easily find me. If me and some other guy, because you know he doesn't care about that other guy, because he leaves him the second he gets out. So it's just, he's only brought him as a distraction so that he can get somewhere else.
How good was the touch? So the very first time you see the other guy in the 2018 one, he's sitting in the prison with the umbrella.
Yeah.
And then after the couple come out of the bar, and they're like, they're in the car, and
they crash.
He drives off, and then they crash, and he goes to the car, and he pulls out the umbrella, and he's like, what? And I was sitting there going, oh shit.
Nice.
Yeah. But it's just so smart that he's brought, you know, someone else with him. Like it's developed his character.
Yeah.
That little bit. So I think
it's an amazing amount of character development, as you say, that you can do for a silent killer. It's brilliant.
And I think that adds to that's what's made him move up in the esteem of yourself and Greg. For me, I would say that's what's moved it.
Absolutely. You're dead
he's
right.
no longer
it's not just thoughtless.
Yeah, he's not just a brute. There's an intelligence to here, and we find out that where he's going is back to his house. So it's not
doesn't it? Ted, I was just going to say, based on your kind of analysis of that too, because I really like the way you kind of articulated that.
Yeah.
It makes sense too, because he's obviously been in the asylum for so long and has had time to think about it. Do you know what I mean? So like, he's obviously looked at the errors of his ways in the first one and said, right, I'm going to be more meticulous this time. So the mind has developed this one fucking direction for him to go in, and that's, I'm not going to make any mistakes this time. You know what I mean?
Even the setup from the 2018 one, where he was leaving people in certain places.
Yeah.
Like when he kills when in the 2018 one, you see the couple coming in and they're nearly tormenting him in the prison with the mask.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, these are the main characters. Yeah, no. Yeah, you're fucked.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
He's also learned from, because in the original film, he leaves a lot of the the children alive. Like he doesn't actually kill the children. And we see one of his big kills. Like you don't see him kill the kid with the mask, but no
has his
longer
head.
no longer are children off limits to him. You know,
No.
he's realized I made the mistake of leaving them, and it's come back to bite me in the arse. So I'm gonna get the ones I left alive, and I'm gonna get these new ones as well.
Yeah, he's
And
just-
actually, wasn't
anyone
that a
that's in the
great?
way.
Wasn't that a great throwback as well to Halloween 3 with the masks?
Oh,
Yes,
the
very
Silver
good, yeah.
Shamrocks.
Yeah, yeah.
This
But
is why we love having Ted on the show, because he always brings the analytics in there as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because that is true. Like that is a really good point that I wouldn't have thought of. You know what I mean? The kids,
Yeah.
like he's like, I'm leaving nothing to chance here.
They,
I'm
they
finishing
do
the job.
mention that as well in it now. He's killing everybody in sight.
Yeah.
There was like where even when you see, you know, where they're at the playground, they have the kid's head and the thing. Like, is that his mask? And then they were like, run. And then everyone in the car gets all sorts of fucked up.
Yeah.
I like how the two kids didn't really care either at the start. You know, like, oh, there's some guy with a mask just following us around. Look, he's over there. Because, you know, they're so young that they don't
It's
they
the
don't
innocence
remember.
of Halloween, yeah.
But it's not even the innocence. It's that they're kind of like, yeah, that's just a ghost story. Mike Myers is a ghost story. It's not real. Because obviously it's meant to have happened to
40 years ago.
when Jamie Lee Curtis is a child. Like, she's a teenager. So
Mm.
that's, you know, you're talking, she's now had her own child who now has a teenage daughter. So you're talking at minimum like 30, 40 years.
It's 40 years, yeah.
78, yeah.
Yeah, so, well, I don't know how long it is in the actual,
No, it's 40
Universe.
years, yeah.
Are they
'cause
going
it's
with
the
it? Yeah, no, it
40th
is, yeah.
anniversary.
okay, so they are going with that.
100%.
But like these kids are just like, yeah, that's just some ghost story you all made up. That's not, he's not real. And then he is real, and it's like,
No,
you
that-
kids need to get out of here. I would not be surprised to see those two little girls in the next film. Not as a major scene, but I wouldn't be surprised to see the two of them get killed in the next film.
The next movie is set 4 years apart or something now.
Yeah.
Yeah, wouldn't be surprised to see the two of them get killed by him in the next film.
But
Genuinely.
There's also now talks that whenever this comes out in 2 years or whatever, it's going to be released on the same date Halloween 1, the original Halloween was.
I love it.
Yeah,
Oh,
I think
yeah.
this was meant to be as well, and then obviously COVID hit and they had to push it out. But I think they've had the plan to release it in and around the same date every year.
Well, no one could have foreseen this.
Yeah,
Oh.
exactly. Yeah,
But like, yeah, some of the like, you feel really bad for your man who escaped the prison when the mob are chasing him through the
Yeah.
hospital.
oh, when he gets out on the edge of the hospital window.
I
and
have to
stuff,
wonder
yeah.
why he doesn't just walk across that ledge to the next window.
'Cause he's crazy,
insane.
that's
yeah,
what-
he's
yeah.
insane. Like, and
He's a
been
bit
driven.
thick. Yeah.
Probably thinks he
been
can fly like R. Kelly, you know.
It's even more that he's just been driven to complete. You know, he's scared now at this point
And
as
I'll
well.
tell you-
Like
I'll tell
a
you what,
massive
though,
mob chasing him around,
that,
terrified.
That death scene was bad, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, when he
Jesus,
hits the
rough.
ground and you just see his body as well, you're just like, oh, that was
Explode.
rough. Yeah.
Well, look, I mean, we've talked about everything that we liked about the film. Let's talk about the very few things that we didn't like, if there's anything. There's one thing. There's one thing
yeah.
I didn't like, and that was the mob bothered the shit out of me. Just like they were, it just, I don't know. To me, it just threw things off a little bit. The amount of them, and they were like infected. You know, it was
Yeah,
like another
was a
movie
rage
coming.
kind of thing.
Yeah. So that just, I suppose, the dynamic of the mob kind of just bothered me a little bit, you know. And that was only really the only real thing that I had a problem with.
Although I did find with the mob, right, the hospital scene was probably a bit overdone,
Yeah.
but how well they moved that into the plan to get him out of the house was particularly well done.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
I
Like I think they needed to show the power that they had
yeah.
to then show what's going to happen.
I think for me, the mob, I thought the mob, like the idea of having a mob made sense. It just it escalated too quickly.
Yeah.
You know, it went from one character being like, it ends like
Evil dies tonight.
evil dies tonight, and then they're all right, we're all in on this. Yeah, definitely, we're all in on this. That was a bit too quick. But I think once they had the mob established and they're like, right, we're going with a mob. I thought that scene in the hospital was brilliant because they're like pushing orderlies out of the way, pushing doctors out of the way because
They just had enough, like, yeah.
The poor nurse that was
Yeah,
walking.
but
God.
this is
Lord.
that is a mob mentality. Once a mob gets going, they don't think about the consequences for anything around them other than the objective they're going for. So I thought that did work quite well. I loved how she lures Michael out of the house by taking the mask off him. But I did say this to Greg. I've always liked the idea that Myers is flesh and bone. I've always liked
Me
that.
too.
And for the ending of this film where he takes the beating, this massive beating, and I was like, okay, we're going to have the similar ending where, you know, you had the flashback of Will Patton's character not killing him and going, no, the correct thing to do is arrest him. But they don't go with that. They go with like, no, let's just kill him. And for me, they kind of went overboard here because he's clearly no longer flesh and blood. Because
They do
of the
make
stuff-
that point though. She does like.
the
I know.
more he
I know
kills,
it's
the
what
less
it's
human he
supposed to be.
becomes. Yeah, I do
Um,
get that that's what they went with, but I didn't particularly like that. I liked the idea that he was a flesh and blood character, that he could be stopped. I don't mind him being, you know, impervious to the pain because he's psychotic, so he just doesn't feel it. I kind of liked that as an idea, but being like, oh, we stabbed him in the neck, so he's going to be paralyzed, but that doesn't affect him and stuff like that. It's kind of like, oh, there's a few bits there. And then I don't know, and I did discuss this with Greg. I don't know if that ending scene of him in the house killing the daughter,
It is.
if that's going to be real or if that's going to have been
No,
in her head.
No, it is. It's confirmed that she's done.
Okay, so, but to me, it's kind of like,
Fucking
how did
dick
he?
anyway?
But it's like, how did he get there? Like, he got past this house that there's police surrounding the house, and he just crept back in. That's stuff I don't like. It's too much of an easy close off for them. Where
So,
I'm like,
allegedly, from everything that I'm reading, is gonna be that he's come in through the basement, and there's a second stairs up that nobody knows about.
okay, if they explain it in the third, then that'll go away. But for the moment, since they have no explanation, I'm just like,
I think we need to give it to the third.
Yeah, I have to give it to that time. But for the moment,
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh, I
Yeah.
don't know if I like that ending scene.
That's fair.
But it could, like, they could, if they expect, like, the first of this 2018 ones ends with him in the burning house. And I was saying to Greg, and I don't know if you boys noticed it, but when he's down in the basement and it's burning, he's not actually down in that basement. He's locked himself where she has the guns, because when the first guy falls through, he's looking and a grate goes up. That's why he's not inhaling smoke, because he's locked himself into a little room. And I thought that was a really nice little touch.
Yeah.
Like, you know, oh, why is he not burning alive? Oh, because he locked himself in a fireproof room. That's why. So maybe they will. Like, that wasn't explained in the first, it was explained in this. So maybe how he gets into the house will be explained in the third, even though it wasn't in this. But for me, just at the moment, I'm like, oh, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
You know,
What about-
I wasn't a fan of him getting back to the house and killing her, although I did like seeing her getting killed.
Yeah, you're not a fan of her at all.
No, I'm really not. But like, I didn't really like her in the first one either. Like, I just don't like her as an actress. Like, the character was grand, the development was great. But I was saying to Ted, I think that's how they're gonna get him. Before obviously reading what I've read, I was like, that's how they're gonna get him to the hospital. That's how the next one's gonna go. I was saying that whole killing the mob and her wasn't gonna have happened, and they're gonna bring him to the morgue, and that's how he's gonna get to Laurie. That's how I would have played it.
Yeah, but I think they are going with that he just killed that mob and killed them. So it'll be interesting to see where they go with the third. Obviously, it's now going to focus on the granddaughter, who, to be honest, is the main part of this. Like, the daughter who ends up dying in the house at the end, she is really just the transition between Laurie and the new
Laurie.
Laurie and the new main girl. You know, like, it's not. She was never. Like, the mother was never the main character for it anyway. You know.
No. It was just the character development was brilliant. The score was brilliant. The movie just outright, it was just phenomenal.
It's very good. Like, those are the few things I don't like about it.
Yeah.
But they're very nitpicky, and as we said, they can be sorted in the future. You know.
It's like something you'd put on Rotten Tomatoes if you're reviewing it, isn't it?
Yeah, like, if I have
I
to go
don't
out
like
and say what
horror
I don't,
movies.
what I don't like, you know, if you have to go out and analyze something, and you can't just go out and go, yeah, that was perfect. You know, you look for something to dislike. That's what I did there. Like, that's the thing I didn't dislike, really, or didn't like. Sorry.
I did like that they kept going back to, you know, the sheriff, the fact that his daughter was Jamie Lee Curtis's best friend in the original one.
Yeah.
And got killed, and they're like, it's 40 years. That's why he led that mob.
Yeah.
And they reference it, like, if you missed it, say you were going to the Jacks or whatever, and you missed it, they reference it a good few times that you know.
Yeah, he says it, you know, like, this man killed my daughter.
I do not like the fact that they brought Will Patton in and left him with
On a bed.
nothing. But
No, I thought he added enough from where he was, and I think he'll be in the third one.
Yeah,
He'll
he's
be a
gonna be a
major
big part,
point.
yeah.
He'll be a major plot point in the third one, which I like.
But do you know, did any of you notice when it panned in close to Michael's face, the bullet hole from the original one is in the neck?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, so
Yeah.
you're not, he wasn't flesh and blood in the original one, so there's no point in continue on that he's not now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
true.
But
Look, no, I'm the same. I mean, look, for me, I agree with all, you know, I think the points that you make for and against, you know, of some of the stuff you liked and didn't like are valid. You know what I mean? For me, I'm kind of more on Greg's side in the sense that I think it does make sense, but also what Ted is saying makes sense that, you know, if you're thinking that he's meant to be flesh and blood, then what's happening here? But I'm with Greg, and I don't think he's meant to be flesh and blood. Like, he's just pure evil. And don't forget,
No,
Loomis was
they have moved him on
home,
from
you know?
that. Yeah, they've moved him on from
Yeah.
that. It was just something that I liked as a
Oh,
character,
no,
where they
but
were like,
it-
"Oh, he's flesh and blood," you know. But you know,
You're 100% correct.
I have to move on from that. They've clearly decided he's not flesh and blood, so I just move on, and I can't hold it against every film. You know, if you make one mistake at the start of something, you don't hold that mistake for the whole way through. You know, you move on and you accept that that's now the canon of the story, and you view it from the rest of it. So like, that's what I'll do. But just to me, when I remember from the original, he was a flesh and blood. You know, he was just a man.
Yeah.
That's, you see, my opinion, because I watched Halloween so much. I think that was the idea that people thought he was just flesh and blood, but Loomis knows different. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
He's like,
possibly.
he's
Yeah.
not. He's pure evil. I've looked into his eyes, and it's pure darkness. You know.
the doctor in 2018 makes that point very valid as well. That he's something different. It's like hell, spit him back out.
Yeah.
No, I think that was the tagline they used for Jason, but I think he said something similar to that in it.
It's very similar to if anyone's read Preacher, and if you haven't, and you're a
yeah.
comic fan, you got to read it. It's like the saint of killers, isn't it? You
Yeah,
know, he was too evil for hell that the devil himself got slayed by him, and they had to spit him back out.
It's a great comic series.
Yeah.
I think it's similar to that, isn't it?
I think it is. Yeah. And you know, like, that's just something that was on my sort of thing that I liked, but you know, they've decided that's not what they're doing. So I move on with it. You know, you roll with the punches, and
you roll with it. It's like when you watch WWE. You know what I mean? Okay, is Kane indestructible? Can he be set on fire? Is he this? What is he? Is he a man? Oh no, he's actually a mayor.
But
I've seen all of these above.
But the film itself, like, there's nothing, like, it's going to be the weakest of the, let's say, the four. Do you know what I mean? Like,
and that's not thrown out under the bus.
Well,
it'll be the weakest of the four, but there's a reason for it being the weakest.
Let's get down to the bottom dollar then, Ted. As we wind up, let's get down to the bottom dollar. And how many slabs of meat are you going to give it?
4, I think. That there is slight inconsistencies. As Carl said, like, the mob is way too quick to get riled up and stuff. So there's a few slight inconsistencies, but the positives far outweigh the negatives here.
I'm gonna throw my meat down on the table too. And
say,
that sounds so funny. That's what she said. No, I'm gonna give it a mighty 4 as well. 100%, and for the reasons that Ted explained. 100%.
I'm going to give it a 4 as well, and you know, I like that. I liked the stuff I liked about it. It makes me want to give it more, but you know, it really is a placeholder film.
Yeah,
and I do love it. It's my favorite placeholder movie. Put it that way.
Yes.
You know, so a good 4 out of 5, and a very good strong 4 out of 5.
Strong, yeah. Greg.
4 for me as well.
Yeah, I think
it's dragged me into the Halloween series all in now.
Yeah, 100%. I agree, and I think it's made a lot of new fans. As I say, I mean, the original is always gonna be the best. But I mean, to do what they've done with the continuation of that, you know, in a time where people can overcomplicate movies and franchises and stuff like that, good lord, they really knocked it out of the park on this one.
They went basic and they went savage.
Yeah, 100%.
They brought the man back, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
They got the man back involved.
Even the actual acting from some of the other actors were brilliant. Like Anthony Michael Hall, who played Brian in Breakfast Club, playing the leader of the mob. That's just something
And-
ridiculous.
And it makes sense for him to be
Fantastic.
the leader as well, because he's the older version of
Tommy.
somebody who
Yeah.
survived back in the day. Like, it makes sense for him to be leading the mob, and that's what I like, that everyone had their bit tied back in. This person's here, and the reason that they're so passionate about this is because it's affected their life for the last 40 years. And then these newer people like Dylan Arnold's character, I can't even remember his name. He's the boyfriend, but
He got a rough one, didn't he?
yeah, that was a rough old ending.
Mhm.
But like, even that, his dad dies, and his dad is one of the originals, and you don't even see it. You don't even see him. Like, you just hear the noise of him shooting the gun, and then you walk in,
Yeah.
and he's hanging from the pull down ceiling. You
He's
don't
not
get to
even
see it.
up there. He's just in it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but that's what I liked. You don't need to see every kill.
No.
Not every kill, even though that's a big character. Someone that ties you back to the first one. Don't need to see him get killed. He is dead, and that's all you need
No,
to know, really.
What I loved about the camera work here was, all right, they showed you one angle, and you think, is he coming from behind him? And then they show you the thing, and you know he's coming out of the closet then.
Yeah.
But my Lord Jesus, he gets savaged.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the through the banisters and then knocked around about 40 times. Just
Yeah.
And then he gets batted around, then he gets his neck pushed down on it, and then he's like,
Oh.
he's still alive, the poor fucker, so he just breaks his neck then, you're like, ugh.
Perfect.
Look, I think that's a great way to wrap it up.
Absolutely.
For tonight. Four across the board. There is four is leaving us wanting more, right?
You won't
And,
often get that from newer horror movies.
No.
No, 100%. And
Better-
as I say, there's
We're
a
in
reason.
we're in a
that-
good time now, though.
There's a reason that JC is the GOAT for me, and we're
He's
seeing
proven
it now,
Uh,
still in 2021. So
Mhm.
I suppose for me, Ian Kelly, for Carl King, for Greg Flanagan, for Ted Irving, thank you for joining us on this horrifying Friday night. And until next week, we are over and out.
Woo!